Hi, Matt Cause here for CFL.ca. It's week 3, and what a crazy last couple weeks has been. Tons of upsets, tons of injuries, tons of penalties, tons of excitement. But before we get to my fantasy advice, before we get to my picks for week 3, let's do the most depressing part of this whole video. It is time for the injury big board. And yes, there are a lot of guys to keep an eye on, but two notables. First, Andre Drury, running back from the Argonauts. It looks like he is done for the season with a knee injury. This is devastating for a guy who works every year, tries to come back every season to fight, to play. Devastating for him, for his family, and for the Argonauts. We all wish him the best. The other injury to keep an eye on is Drew Willie. Mike O'Shea says he's going to play this week. I'm not so sure. That was a vicious hit he took against Hamilton. All I'm telling you to do, monitor the situation closely. If Braum comes in the game, flee, run away with any running backs or wideouts you might have on the Blue Bombers. Sorry, Brian, but you got to prove it first. Now, let's move on to my fantasy advice for week 3. And I'm going to start at the quarterback position with Bo Levi-Mitchell from the Calgary Stampeders. Yes, I know Mitchell's had a bad first 2 weeks. No time now to jump off the Mitchell boat. I know he had 3 INTs in week 1. I know he couldn't generate a lot of offense against Montreal, but he's going to bounce back. This should be the week against the secondary that allowed almost 500 yards passing from Kevin Glenn in that crazy double overtime thriller. Take Mitchell. Next at running back, I like Andrew Harris taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Roughriders D has been pushed around in the first 2 weeks of the season. Harris had about 70 yards against Ottawa. I look for a better total. The thing I liked about Harris, he looked like the healthy version. He looked like the sort of guy that can challenge Cornish. He looked like a guy whose ankle injury problems were in the past. I like Harris. Let's stick with the BC Lions for a second at receiver. Emmanuel Arsenault is back. Did you see how many times he was targeted by Travis Lulay last week? Going deep on the first play for 50 yards. Going short, cross, slant, didn't matter. Lulay focused on Arsenault. I look for a big week for him. At the flex position, Chris Williams, the prize free agent signing of the Ottawa Redblacks. Yardage total has been good, not great in the first 2 weeks, but I expect that to improve against Edmonton. He's going to have a huge game. I expect it week 3. Next up, defense. I'm sticking with Ottawa. Yes, I'm taking you Redblacks. I'm giving you some love. You're 2-0. Why am I taking you? Well, partially because the quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos is Matt Nichols. Did not look good in his limited time against Toronto. He's got to prove to me that he can move a team consistently. Until that happens, I like opposing teams' defenses against Edmonton. At kicker, I like Rene Paredes from the Calgary Stampeders. We saw what Toronto looked like defensively against Saskatchewan. The Rough Riders moved the ball on the ground, through the air, and I expect similar things for Calgary. Calgary's offense is going to explode. This could be that week. A lot of opportunities for field goals, a lot of opportunities for extra points. At my value pick, this is the definition of a steal. Receiver Ryan Smith from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now keep an eye on the injuries. He was banged up at the end of that game against the Argonauts. But what has he done in the first 2 weeks? He's had over 170 yards against the Argonauts and a touchdown. He had a score in week 1, and yet his value criminally low. You got to take him right now. He's a deal. It's like one of those door crasher steals you get around Thanksgiving. Now remember, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you have any recipe advice, whatever you want, you can always tweet me. You can tweet us. Tweet us at CFL. You can get a hold of me at mcause56. I will answer any of your questions and deal with any good-natured abuse you would like to send my way. I know Kevin Glenn had a great day, but he usually mixes it up. Great day, not so great day, and Saskatchewan's defense has yet to have even a good day.